นะเริ่มแล้ว Good afternoon everybody. Welcome to the webinar in the topic of English for Professional Presentation. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nathapol Chachapu. I'm the third year student major in English for International Communication. Today, I'm the Master of Ceremony. Now, may I invite Mr. Jiramet Dolanpai to report the project organization.
Guest speaker, teacher, and RNUTL students, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everyone to our webinar, English for Professional Presentation. On behalf of English for International Communication Department, we proudly present the webinar of English for Professional Presentation. I would like to say thank you to everyone who have attended our activity today. Distinguished the head of English for International Communication Program, Ms. Tonghathai Thongnamkham. My name is Jiramet Dolanpai, and I am coordinator of this project under English for International Communication. Effective presentation skills is a part of communication. You need effective presentation skill to present your ideas, projects, plans, strategy, and products in front of audience, team, and front of venture capitalists, online and offline. In this interaction, it's important to have technical and non-technical presentation skill to achieve the end goal. Communication and presentation skill are a part of each other. To be effective in communication, you need presentation skill. Presentation skill help you to communicate more effectively and professional with your audience, boss, team members, students, and teachers. I would like to report the workshop in English from the following. The purpose: first, to educate how to give a professional presentation English, and second, to increase the student confidence when giving to a professional presentation in English. The venue and duration. This activity is on Microsoft Teams on Friday and February 3rd, 2021 at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. The expected outcomes. First, the participants are able to use English communicate better. And second, the participants are able to professional presentation. On this occasion, I would like to invite to the head of English for International Communication Program to formally open the program.
Next, may I invite Ms. Tonghathai Thongnamkham, the head of English for International Communication Program, to deliver the opening remark.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I am very pleased and honored to be invited to present over the opening of this webinar under the theme of English for Professional Presentation. We know that the purposes of this webinar are the first, to educate how to give a professional presentation in English, and the second, to increase the students' confidence when giving a professional presentation in English. I think this workshop, English for Professional Presentation, is very timely and significant in order for us to give a presentation in English and learn how to speak correctly. Thank you all for coming to our activity today. Thank you, the coordinator, the third year student of English for International Communication, who hold the webinar in English online through Microsoft Teams today. And thank you very much, the guest speaker today, Mr. Ruben Esteban. He is the professional speaker today. Thank you also everyone who has helped and made this activity a success. Now it is a reasonable time. I would like to open the English for Professional Presentation in academic year 2020. Thank you very much.
Now, I would like to introduce Mr. Ruben Esteban. He is the guest speaker of this webinar. He worked from Tallinn in the Philippines. His education background is he just finished my master degree recently and Master of Science in Education major in Education Management. And his work experience is he worked at RMUTL Pittsburgh more than 10 years, and his experience for being the guest speaker is he was a guest speaker in TESOL, or in the other name, teaching English to speaker of other language, and he is the guest speaker of research, seminar, and workshop. Please welcome Mr. Ruben Esteban to give us the knowledge of English for professional presentation.
Sorry. Okay, so can everybody hear me now? Okay, so thank you very much for inviting me in today's event. Again, my name is Mr. Ruben Esteban. I am a TESOL specialist at the Language Center of RMUTL Bidsunolog. And today, I am very much pleased and I am very much honored to be the guest speaker of this event, which is entitled Professional Presentation. In this regard, I would like to thank also the coordinator of this event, Farm or Natapon Chumpu, or I don't know if he's the coordinator or the leader of this team, and the others, the students of EIC 3.9A, and of course the teacher or the lecturer in charge of this course, Seminar in English, Ajahn Tonghatai, or teacher Tonghatai Tonghankam. And today we're going to dwell more, or we're going to study more about how to deliver a simple presentation in English. So I included simple for the students also to catch up and for them to understand more of the concept of presentation, because when we say professional presentation, it takes a lot of structure, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of preparations to do a professional presentation. But in this regard, I'm going to give you a glimpse of a simple presentation instead. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for you to catch up, for you to have a look while I'm speaking or while I'm delivering this presentation. As you can see here, delivering a simple presentation in English. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so before we understand more about the concepts, the structure, the flow, and the parts of a presentation, let's define first, what is a presentation? So maybe you're wondering, maybe you are asking in your minds, what is a presentation? So as you can see on the screen again, in bold letter, a presentation is any situation which involves speaking to a group of people in order to make a point, educate, or share information. So a presentation is any situation where you or where people have to speak in front to make a point, to educate, or to share information. Like for us teachers, we do presentations every day in our lives because this is our job. To educate, meaning to give information or to share information or ideas to our students. So as the other professions, like we have, for example, we have business people or businessmen, businesswomen. So they have to present their businesses, okay? They have to present their business presentations. They have to present their business ideas. So they have to stand in front of the people, or through a webinar, they have to speak in front of the computer, like what we're doing now because of the pandemic. So they have to educate and share information to the audience or to the listeners. They have to make their points also. Making a point is sharing ideas or making a stand, sharing their stand or sharing what they believe in and sharing what they think are beneficial to the audience. Okay, so can everybody understand my point? Okay, but if you have any
กอง
questions,
เชียร์กองเชียร์
okay, if you have,
ฮะ
if you have any question, just ask me while I'm delivering my presentation. You could just speak out loud. You can ask the coordinator of this webinar to give you or unmute you so that they can so that you can ask questions through my delivery of this webinar. Okay, did you understand? If you need me to speak a little bit slower, then you could just ask me, the coordinator of this webinar. You could just request it to me for me to speak slower for the students to understand. Or if you need some interpreters, then you could actually ask them for help to interpret or to translate in Thai a little bit of what I am talking
โอ
about.
เค นักศึกษาคะอาจารย์รูเบนแจ้งว่าใครอยากจะสอบถามอะไรหรืออยากจะให้อาจารย์พูดช้าลงนักศึกษาสามารถพูดได้ตลอดเวลาสามารถสอบถามได้ตลอดนะคะหรือว่าถ้าไม่เข้าใจจุดไหนจะให้ทีมงานแปลให้ฟังอันนี้ก็แจ้งเข้ามานะคะเพื่อประโยชน์สูงสุดของพวกเราเนาะในการเข้าอบรมในวันนี้นะคะขอบคุณค่ะ
Okay, so may I continue now? So let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so we have discussed, we have defined what is a presentation. Now I'm going to show you what is an academic presentation and why am I going to speak this to you as my listeners or as the listeners of this webinar. An academic presentation is giving or sharing information in an academic manner. So when we say academic, from the root word academe, it means at school. Okay, so since we are students, since you are students and I am a teacher and most of the listeners here are students and some are teachers. So it is very much essential to present or to show you an academic presentation thing. Because there are some other presentations like business presentation, like other presentations, but this one, it would be very much essential. It would be very important for you so that you could use it in classroom or when you do present a research, when you do present a project, when you present something inside the classroom with your classmates or in front of your teachers, okay? Okay, so an academic presentation is sharing or giving information in an academic manner. When we say academic manner, it talks about the precepts or it talks about some rules in the academe, like in a classroom, someone has to stand up like a teacher, you have to go in front and then present in a formal way. It should be formal. It should be polite, right? And it discusses the parts of a presentation still, okay? Understand? Okay, that is an academic presentation. Again, let me summarize. Giving information in the classroom with a specific topic, or giving a presentation, a research presentation, a project presentation with regards to or in connection to your classes or in connection to school. Okay? Mm-hmm.
ฮะก็คือ academic presentation นะครับก็คือการนำเสนองานแบบเชิงวิชาการนะครับก็จะเป็นการนำเสนอที่มีขั้นมีตอนนะครับเป็นการนำเสนอที่ใช้ในการพรีเซนต์งานที่ใช้เชิงวิชาการที่เป็นแบบจำพวกในห้องมหาลัยโรงเรียนหรือเชิงสัมมนาที่เป็นอยู่แบบนี้นะฮะขอบคุณมากครับ
Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so what does an academic or a simple presentation include? So it's very basic, it's very, I wouldn't say it's easy, but I think you're familiar. I think you have known, you have seen, you have experienced doing or delivering a presentation, even a basic or simple presentation. So here you are, as you can see on the screen, 1, 2, and 3. It includes the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Let me repeat them for you to understand. Introduction, the body, and conclusion. There are only 3 parts, basic and simple. Okay, introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Okay, understand? Okay, so I think this one is easy to understand. So let's move on to the next one if no one is going to translate them. Okay, so the introduction, the introduction. Now let's discuss more. What is introduction? Okay, let me read it for you. The introduction prepares the audience to your presentation. So the introduction is more of a chill way. When we say chill, it's an easy way, okay, to prepare the audience to listen to your presentation. The slide is a little bit grammatically incorrect. Can you correct it later? It tells them, it should have an S, okay? It tells them what your presentation is about, why it is important, and finally, what to listen for in your speech. So it has the elements. Number one, what your presentation is about. So it talks about the topic of your presentation. What your presentation is about, meaning the topic of your presentation. Why is it important? So you have to tell your audience or the listener why you are delivering or why you are giving a speech to your audience. And finally, what to listen for in your speech. So it gives you a glimpse, it gives you an idea what should be spoken later in the body of your presentation. So it's like an introduction to the body. It's like a premise. It's like a prelude. It's like the first part of your presentation. Okay? Understand?
โอเคนะฮะก็ในส่วนแรกนะครับก็คือส่วนของ introduction นะครับก็คือ introduction นะครับก็คือการเตรียมตัวผู้ฟังในการฟังงานนำเสนอของเรานะครับก็คือเราจะบอกผู้ฟังว่าทำไมงานของเรานั้นถึงสำคัญเราจะนำเสนออะไรและทำไมผู้ฟังเนี่ยต้องมาฟังงานของเราเพราะมันเกี่ยวข้องกับผู้ฟังยังไงฮะขอบคุณมากครับ
Okay, so thank you. So you may be wondering, but how can we speak or how should we do the introduction? What should we speak? Okay, now let's move on to the next slide so that I can demonstrate you, I can show you what to speak or how to do the introduction per se, okay? So let's have the introduction here. I have the figure, introduction. In the introduction, it comprises four sub-points. We have the greeting, the what, the why, and the overview. Again, the introduction has the greeting, the what, the why, and the overview. So on the right, you can see on top, okay, on the right on top, greeting gets the audience attention. What tells the audience what your topic is. Why tells the audience why your information is important to them. And the overview, it tells the audience what points to listen for. So basically, this is the structure of the introduction. These are the parts of the introduction. Okay, so how or what to speak within these four parts of the introduction. Okay, now I'm going to show you some phrases or sentences for you to master the introduction of your presentation. So let's move on to the next slide.
หลุดโอเคก่อนจะไปนะครับก็คือในการ introduction นะครับจะมี4หัวข้อหลักๆที่เราต้องทำอย่างแรกก็คือการทักทายผู้ฟังเพื่อดึงความสนใจของผู้ฟังนะฮะอย่างที่2ก็คือเราจะต้องบอกว่าหัวข้อของ topic ของเรานั้นคืออะไรและอย่างที่3ก็คือเราต้องบอกว่าหัวข้อของเรานั้นสำคัญเพราะอะไรและอย่างที่3ก็คือเราต้องบอกว่าในงานที่เรานำเสนอเนี่ยมีหัวข้ออะไรบ้างครับในงานของเราบ้างครับ
Okay, so we're going to see the sentences or before I'm going to show you the sentences, let's take a look at this first. Why is the introduction important? Why do we have to proceed? Why do we have to speak the introduction or to proceed with the introduction? The introduction is perhaps the most important moment in your presentation. So it is one of the most important parts of your presentation, the introduction. Why? If you get the audience's interest, you have a good chance to have a successful presentation. If you fail to get their interest, they might not listen closely enough to your whole presentation. So basically, it's an attention grabber. basically it's the what we call first impression. Okay, you know what first impression means. So it is the first thing that they will look at, that they will listen to in your presentation. So it's very important, so that, oh, like for example, oh, the presentation is good, oh, the introduction is good, oh, the first part is good, okay, I will listen to the whole presentation. So that's basically the meaning of audience interest. So that they will get interested, so that they will say, oh, I like it, so I'm going to listen to the whole presentation. Oh, it seems interesting, so I'm going to listen to the whole presentation. I'm going to listen to the speaker because I think it's good, I think it's okay, like this. So why the introduction is totally important for you. Okay.
ครับก็ทำไมการ presentation หรือว่าในหัวข้อ intro นะครับถึงสำคัญเพราะว่า intro เนี่ยสำคัญที่สุดเพราะหากดึงดูดความสนใจของผู้ฟังได้ก็สามารถประสบความสำเร็จในการสื่อสารข้อมูลแล้วก็หากทำไมไม่ได้ผู้ฟังอาจจะไม่สนใจในการนำเสนอของเราเลยนะครับเพราะถ้าเราแบบทำ introduction ไม่น่าสนใจพอครับขอบคุณครับ
Okay, thank you. So as you can see, I'm here at home. Maybe you have seen me drinking from my very huge mug. But anyway, now here are the introductory phrases that you may want to use while you're delivering your own presentations later. Okay, so on the left, you can see greeting and introduction. So first, you have to greet your audience. You could say hello, hi, or even more polite. Okay, take note, even more polite, even more formal when you use good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good day. Then you could add everyone, everybody. You could also say ladies and gentlemen, folks, classmates and teachers if you are inside the classroom, or if you have guests, then classmates, teacher, and guests. Okay, so let me just repeat them to you. Greeting, for example, good morning, everyone. Or you could say, hello, good morning, everybody. Okay, I'm using randomly. Okay, you could use any of those greetings. So depending on your audience, if it's a formal, then you could use good morning. If it's semi-formal, then you could say hello. Or if you could mix them together, then it's also better. Like hello, good morning, everybody. Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, then the introduction of yourself, state your name, and then if you have a position, like for us, we are teachers. For you, you are a student. You could say, I am a student or I study. So let me speak them out for you to practice at home or while you are listening. So my name is, for example, my name is Ruben Esteban. Okay, again, my name is Ruben Esteban, or you could say I am as an alternate. I am Ruben Esteban. Then you could say I am a TESOL specialist at the Language Center of RMUTL Pitsanulok. Okay, but for you, for the students who are listening now, you could say I study, or I am a student, or I am studying at RMUTL. That should be Pitsanulok. Sorry for the typographical error. Pitsanulok, not Pitsanulok. Okay, so I study at RMUTL Pitsanulok. Okay, or if you want I study, then your major. For example, your major is EIC. I study English for International Communications at RMUTL Pitsanulok. Another one, if you're studying in engineering, I study mechanical engineering at RMUTL Pitsanulok. In sciences, let's say plant science, okay? I am studying plant science at RMUTL Pitsanulok. Okay, you could also say my major is, okay, my major is plant science. My major is EIC, or English for International Communication. Okay, my major is animal science. My major is information system, computer system, or computer technology, depending on your major. And then lastly, you could say, tell what level you are in. For example, you are in your second year. In Pasatay, let me speak a little bit of it. Pisong, second year. Or you could say sophomore for second year. For first year, Pinang or P1, I am a first year student. Third year, fourth year, fifth year. Okay. For sophomore, 2, second year. For first year, freshman. Okay. For third year, junior. And for fourth year, senior. So I am a second year student. If you put them together, combine them together, for example, introduction, tell your school, state your major, and then tell what level you are in. For example, my name is Ruben Esteban. I study at RMUTL Pitsanulok. My major is plant science. I am a second year student. Get it? Again, let me just mix them together from the start, greeting and introduction, to the last part. Okay, let me just do it for you again. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ruben Esteban. I study at RMUTL Pitsanulok. My major is animal science, and I am a second year student. Did you get it? You could practice on your own. Just do the greeting, the introduction, tell your name, then the school, your university, then your major, and then what level you are in. Get it? It's a little bit easy. Okay?
โอเคเอ๊ะมันเปิดไมค์หรือยังเนี่ยโอเคเปิดแล้ว
Mm.
โอเคนะครับก็คือในส่วนของอินโทรส่วนของสไลด์นี้ครับก็คืออย่างที่บอกไปข้างต้นก็คือในส่วนของอินโทรดักชันจะมี4ส่วนและสไลด์นี้คือการแสดงในส่วนที่แรกกับส่วนที่2นะครับก็คือการทักทายผู้ฟังกับการแนะนำตัวเองนะฮะในการทักทายผู้ฟังนะครับก็จะมีคำอย่างเช่น hello hi แต่ว่าใน academic presentation นะครับส่วนมากจะใช้ good morning afternoon หรือ every day นะครับก็คือเป็นคำที่แบบใช้เป็นคำที่สุภาพมากกว่านะฮะต่อไปนะครับก็คือคำแนะนำตัวเองนะครับสิ่งที่ผู้นำเสนองานจะต้องแนะนำตัวเองนะครับส่วนใหญ่ๆก็มีอยู่ประมาณ4อย่างก็คือชื่อสถานศึกษาที่ศึกษาอยู่นะฮะต่อไปก็คือสาขาและอย่างสุดท้ายก็คือระดับชั้นของผู้พรีเซนต์งานนะฮะและเมื่อได้ข้อมูลพวกนี้มาแล้วครับก็เวลาพรีเซนต์เนี่ยก็ให้พรีเซนต์รวดเดียวไปเลยนะอย่างเช่น Hello everyone my name is ณัฐพล ชัยภู I am studying at RMUTL Pitsanulok and my major is English for International Communication I'm the third year student โอเคนะฮะก็นี่คือส่วนแรกกับส่วนที่2ของการ introduction ของ academic presentation นะฮะ
So thank you. It's very easy, isn't it? I think it's easy, right? So now let's go to the next slide so that we can move forward. After the introductory greeting, the introduction of yourselves, then you're going to introduce your topic now. This one, I have prepared a more vibrant one, a more colorful one, so that you will not get bored, because I know it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so you may feel sleepy, but don't get sleepy. You can concentrate, look at the photos. They're very much interactive. They're very much interesting, so that you could listen more to this presentation. The introductory phrase is be. Okay, what you're going to remember in the introduction is use the future tense of the verb. It's either the will or am going. Okay, again, will or am going. Okay, you could see on the right, you have the blue color what, the yellow color why, you could like this, and the overview on the pink. Okay, so the what, number one, if you go to number one, you could see I'm going. So I'm going, so it uses am going. So I meaning me. So I'm going to talk about, if your topic, for example, is cars, so you could say, I'm going to talk about cars. Okay, if your topic is all about dogs, okay, you could use number two, column number two. I'd like. You could also, I would like. It's okay. This is a shortened form. I'd like to tell you about dogs. Okay, I'd like to tell you about dogs. Okay, another one is number three. I want to describe my hometown. So if you want to talk, your topic is all about your hometown. I want to describe my hometown. Or number four, if you want to explain a process, a procedure, like for example, number four, column number four, I will explain to you. So it uses will. I will explain to you how to make fried chicken. So in this row, you could see what, meaning your topic. You could say, I'm going to, I'd like to, I want to, I will explain to you. Okay, you could use any of those to add to your greeting and to your introduction of yourselves. Number two, go to the yellow one. Why? Why are you speaking? Why are you telling your subject? Or why are you telling your presentation? Why are you sharing your your presentation? Sorry for that. Okay, this information, you can see number one, this information will help you. Okay, or you could say for number two, after this speech, you will be able to. Or you could say, this topic will be important to you because. Or you could use number four, you will need to know this because. Okay, so if I combine them together, let me just use number one for cars. Okay, I'm going to talk about cars. This information will help you fix your car. Okay, now let's go to the overview. An overview is like a very bullet type, a very short form of what you're going to speak in the body of your presentation. So it's just the summary type of the body. So you could use I'm going, still I'm going, the future tense of the verb. I'm going to talk about column number one, okay? I'm going to talk about 3 points if you have 3 main points. Okay, you could use gestures if you want, like this, or like this, like this. So 3 points, okay? First, I'll tell you about, so there is I'll or I will. Second, okay, or one, you could also use 1, 2, 3. Okay, instead of first, second, third. Again, let me do it. Number one, the whole process, okay? The whole column, okay? What, why, and the overview. I'm going to talk about cars. This information will help you fix your car. I'm going to talk about 3 points. First, I'll tell you about tires. Second, I'll tell you about engines. Third, I'll tell you about speed. Okay, so if you combine them together from the greeting and the introduction, if you can still remember in the previous slide, okay, let me do it. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ruben H. Esteban. I am studying at RMUTL Itzenloch. My major is plant science, or my major is mechanical engineering. And I am a 3rd year student. I'm going to talk about cars. This information will help you fix your car. I'm going to talk about 3 points. First, I'll tell you about tires. Second, I'll tell you about engines. Third, I'll tell you about speed. Okay, let me do one more, number 2, so that you could use also the other expressions or the phrases. Okay, let me do from the start, greeting and introduction, then these ones. Okay, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ruben H. Esteban. I am studying at RMUTL Pitsanulog. My major is animal science. I am a third-year student. I'd like to tell you about dogs. After this speech, you will be able to care for your dog. I'll cover 3 things. To begin with, I'll talk about little dogs. Next, medium-sized dogs. They're very small. Okay? And finally, big dogs. So it's very easy. The step-by-step process. You could actually have a note on yourself with yourself, and then you could read a little bit and look at the audience once in a while with an eye contact. Okay? So very easy, greeting and introduction. Then you could use these. You can see the figure which is being flashed on your screen, right? It's very easy, I think.
ค่ะสำหรับสไลด์นี้นะคะจะต่อจากสไลด์ที่แล้วจากการแนะนำตัวแล้วก็จะเข้าสู่การแนะนำหัวข้องานที่เราจะนำเสนอเป็นการแนะนำหัวข้องานโดยใช้คำหรือวลีที่เป็นโครงสร้างในการพูดถึงสิ่งที่จะทำในอนาคตนะคะแล้วก็บอกแนะนำหัวข้อที่สำคัญของงานโดยเรียงลำดับตามอย่างเช่น 1. เราจะนำเสนออะไร 2. อะไรแล้วก็สุดท้ายเราจะนำเสนออะไรค่ะ
Okay, teacher, you continue.
Okay,
Yes.
so again, let me just summarize for the introduction. You have the greeting. Greeting means hi, hello, good morning for more polite or for more formal way. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or everybody, everyone. Then tell about yourself in any way. I am or my name is. And then you could tell your school or your university or your company if you are doing a professional presentation, okay? And then in academic presentation, we use student or lecturer, or for doctor or professors, okay, for teachers, okay, and for other staff in the university. And then you could say what year level are you in, first year, second year, and then in the next part, you're going to say your topic. So today I'm going to talk about cars. So remember, use the future tense. And then why you are sending information or giving your topic to the audience. Okay, this information will help you fix your car. Then for the overview, you're telling about what are the main points in your presentation. So first, you do first, second, later on, I'm going to show you more transition we call them transition signals, okay? Like first, I'll tell you about, second, I'll tell you about, third, I'll tell you about. It's a little bit more, much easier for you to speak if you have this kind of format, okay? Now let's move on to the next slide, please. Now let's go to the body so that we could proceed to the main course of this presentation. The body. In the introduction, okay, let me just read for you guys, okay? In the introduction, you gave the audience the main points from the overview, right? The last part of the introduction is the overview, if you can still remember, right? First, second, and third. So in the introduction, you gave the audience the main points from the overview. In the body, you discuss each main point or explain them using evidence, okay? So what is an evidence? Let's take a look at the next slide. What is evidence? An evidence can be examples, can be numbers, or any details that could support or prove your main point. That's why you have to discuss, you give numbers, you give details, you give examples of the main point you're going to discuss. Okay, that is what we call an evidence.
Okay. ส่วนที่สองนะครับคือส่วน body หรือส่วนของเนื้อเรื่องนะครับหรือส่วนนี้นะครับคือจะเป็นส่วนที่จะให้ข้อมูลในส่วนของหัวข้อที่เรานำเสนอไปในช่วง intro นะครับว่าเราข้อมูลนั้นที่เราจะพูดเนี่ยมันเป็นอะไรบ้างแล้วก็ในส่วนของ body นี่นะครับจะมีความพิเศษอย่างหนึ่งก็คือเราสามารถให้หลักฐานในส่วนนี้ได้ครับส่วนหลักฐานคืออะไรนะหลักฐานก็คือข้อมูลจำพวกตัวอย่างเลขหรือค่าสถิติต่างๆที่สามารถพิสูจน์ว่าหัวข้อที่เราพูดเนี่ยมันเป็นเรื่องที่น่าเชื่อถือนะขอบคุณมากครับ Thank you.
Let's move on to the next slide so that we could understand what body is. So the body, this is the structure of the body. You can see it in the introduction, right? Not in the body, the first one, introduction, the greeting, the what, the why, and the overview. So in the body, you talked about, you will discuss more, you will discuss in details about the overview. Main point 1, main point 2, and main point 3. That's in the body, okay? So let's see. On the right, you could see main points repeated from the overview. So you just have to repeat from the overview. You get it? And then the evidence, like I said, or like what Mr. Natapon has said, numbers and examples to support, or any details, not only numbers and examples, but any details to support and explain the main points. And one of the most important things is connecting the main points by how transition signals. Okay, again, transition signals. Later on in the next slide, maybe I will show you some transition signals for you to follow or for you to speak if you don't have any idea about them. Okay, so again, let me just summarize. In the body, you have to discuss, you have to explain the main points repeated from the overview. How to do it? By speaking about numbers, examples, or any details that would support or prove the main point. Then you could use transition signal. And then you go to your main point 2, then numbers, examples, details again, explain, and then transition. Then main point 3, look at the purple box, okay? Main point 3, then you repeat from the overview or speak it again. Then you discuss it. How? By speaking numbers, speaking example, or telling some examples, or explaining the details of main point number 3, and then transition signals. Okay, so it's like a repetitive process. The same is if you can see in the 3 bullets, main point 1, main point 2, main point 3, they are pretty similar, right? Numbers, example. So we have the evidence in the transition, right? So again, main point 2, numbers, example, transitions. Main point 3, number, examples, transition. So it's pretty similar. The process is just the same in a way. So let me summarize. Main point, repeated from the overview. You could speak the main point. Then you could discuss using numbers, examples, or details that could prove or support your main point. Then transition signals, which we will be dealing with in the next slide later.
ค่ะ ส่วนสไลด์นี้นะคะ ส่วนของเรื่องจำเป็นอยู่ 3 อย่างค่ะ อย่างแรกคือการนำเสนอหัวข้อที่เคยพูดไปแล้วในช่วงอินโทรค่ะ ต่อมาคือหลักฐานจำพวกตัวอย่างตัวเลขที่สามารถซัพพอร์ตหัวข้อที่เรากำลังพูดค่ะคือตัวเชื่อมที่จะนำเสนองานของเราให้ลื่นไหลครับขอบคุณครับ
Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, please. Why is the body important? So first, before I give you the transition signals and how to speak in the body of your presentation, the body is the main course of the presentation. Like in a meal, you have the main course, the main food. Okay, so the introduction perhaps is the appetizer, or yes, the appetizer, or the first part of your meal. But the body is the main course. It is the meat of your presentation. Prepare the right evidence for the audience. So you have to prepare and discuss and explain the main points of your presentation. Then state some clear transition signals for better pacing. For better pacing meaning so that they know where are you in your presentation. That is the function, or that is the purpose why we use transition signals later. Okay. So now let's move on to the next slide. What are transition signals? Transition signals are words, phrases, or sentences that link an idea to another. They also keep the audience understand where the speaker is in his or her presentation. So basically, they are linking words or linking phrases, linking sentences. You link one idea to another. Okay, let's have some of them on the next slide, please.
Transition signal ก็คือคำเชื่อมนะคะก็จะมีทั้งเป็นคำเป็นวลีหรือว่าเป็นประโยคที่เชื่อมโยงไอเดียอื่นๆค่ะแล้วก็จะช่วยให้ผู้ฟังเข้าใจในสิ่งที่ผู้พูดนำเสนอค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ
Let's move on to the next slide, please. Transition signal examples, like for example, now I'm going to talk. For example, at first, the topic. Now I'd like to speak about cars. Now I am going to talk about cars. Then you could also use first, second, third, or you could say next if you want. Next. Okay, you could, for those who are listening, the students or the participants of this one, you could actually follow after me. Now I'm going to talk, or you could say, first, I'm going to talk about speed. Second, I'm going to talk about tires. Third, I'm going to talk about style. Or you could say, next, I'm going to talk about, or moving on, okay, moving on, I'm going to talk about speed. Now, let's go to speed. Let's now move to speed. Okay, so from one idea to another, for example, you're talking, you have three main points, speed, tires, and style. Okay, so from speed to tires. So speed finished. You have finished speaking about speed. So you want to go to the next idea, to the next main point, which is tires. So you could say, now let's go to speed, or tires, sorry. Now let's go to tires. Or you could say, now I'm going to talk about tires. Or second, I'm going to talk about tires. Okay, here the audience or the people listening to you would know and understand where you at now in your presentation. That's why they are very much essential in your presentation.
โอเคนะฮะส่วนที่เห็นในสไลด์นี้นะครับก็คือคำของ transition signal นะฮะที่ใช้ในการนำเสนองานของ academic presentation คำพวกนี้นะครับจะเป็นคำที่บอกว่าการนำเสนองานเนี่ยให้เป็นคำที่ทำให้ผู้ฟังนะครับรู้ว่าเรากำลังนำเสนองานถึงส่วนไหนแล้วนะฮะคล้ายๆกับคำจำพวกแบบขั้นตอนนะฮะขั้นที่1ขั้นที่2ขั้นที่3และขั้นสุดท้ายทำนองนี้นะฮะคำพวกนี้นะครับให้จดจำไว้นะครับเพราะว่าในการนำเสนองานนะครับคำพวกนี้สำคัญมากเพราะว่ามันเป็นแบบคำที่ใช้ลิงก์ไอเดียอื่นๆเข้ากับไอเดียอื่นๆนะขอบคุณมากครับ
Now let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, now how do we put evidence, or how do we give supporting details to the main idea or to the main points? Now try giving numbers and examples as evidence yourself. Write 3 pieces of evidence, or give 3 pieces of evidence for the following statements. Use either numbers or examples or any details. If you don't know real numbers or example, it is okay to guess. Like for example, in this one of your main points is my hometown is beautiful. Okay, so, or maybe your topic. Okay, let's say topic, or one of your main points is my hometown is beautiful. So now let's give evidence why the hometown or your hometown is beautiful. Like for example, number 1, number 2, and number 3. So in this one, remember, use the present tense of verb. Okay, let's have a little bit of workshop here. Remember, use the present tense of verb. Okay, again, let me repeat. My hometown is beautiful. So let's give evidence, proofs, or supporting details to say or to state that your hometown is beautiful. Like for example, I'm giving you one. For example, my hometown is beautiful because it has clean air. Okay, again, my hometown is beautiful because it has clean air. So you think your hometown is beautiful because of the clean air. Okay, and then you discuss clean air. So you could say some numbers. So there is no pollution, right? There is less pollution in my hometown. Less pollution. And there are less cars traveling in the city or in the suburb. Okay, So that talks number one about my hometown is beautiful because it has clean air. Okay. Another number two, let's give you an example of my hometown is beautiful. My hometown is beautiful because it has beautiful tourist spots. Okay, my hometown is beautiful because it has many tourist spots. Okay, tourist spots like, for example, you have temples. For example, we're talking about Pitsanulok. We have Wat Yai as temples. We have also the other temples, or the Chinese temple in Wangtong. Okay, or tourist spots. Another one we have in Pitsanulok, we have very good falls. Okay, the King Sopa Falls. Okay, or the other tourist spots where people go and travel and have sightseeing, like Ngan Ma Prang, you have Wangtong, you have, like for example, I'm giving examples, okay, for you to understand more about the evidence, okay. The Phu Hin Rong Kla, you also have a lot in Pitsanulok, depending on where is your hometown. This is an example. So number two, because it has many tourist spots. So number one, let me just repeat it. My hometown is beautiful because it has clean air. It has less pollution and it has less cars moving in the city and in the suburbs. Okay, so the evidence, less cars, less pollution. Less pollution meaning less the dark or the black air. Okay. Next one, my hometown, number second. My hometown is beautiful because it has many tourist spots. Like for example, we have temples like Wat Yai and the other temples. I cannot remember. You know the other temples. We also have falls, waterfalls like the King Sopa Falls. And we have many other more tourist spots like Phu Hin Rong Kla. If you go to Ngan Ma Prang, you could see the beautiful mountain terraces or the mountain ranges. Or you could go to the other parts of Pitsanulok in Wat Bot. You could also go to Ban Klong or in Ban Krang or in other places in Pitsanulok where you could see the mountains, where you could see the valleys, where you could see falls, where you could see beautiful temples. So these talks about evidences. Again, let me just repeat, giving example. If you can give example, the name of the spots, the name of the places, if you could give numbers, like for clean air, if you could have the clean air, the AQI or something like that, that proves it is really clean, then you could say that. In this example, my hometown is beautiful. Remember, use the present tense. Okay. Now, how about, let's make it a little bit more engaging this time. Okay, I would like you or the moderator or the coordinator of this webinar to at least give us some proofs or evidences talking about RMUTL Pitsanulok is a good university. Okay, so let's give 1 point. RMUTL Pitsanulok is a good university. Can somebody tell me why we think RMUTL is a good university? Can someone? Let's have some participation from the webinar audience. Or if none, then we could have the coordinator.
The RMUTL Pitsanulok is a good university. I think it because it's a family friendly.
It's again, please. Speak.
It's a friendly university.
Okay, it's a friendly university. So number one, first, I think RMUTL Pitsunlok is a good university because it is a friendly university. Then you give details and examples. Mr. What's your name? Mr. Natapon, right?
Yes.
Okay, then give me details. Why do you think it's a friendly university? Give examples.
Because it's less student than the big university, so people in the university can know each other.
Okay, so that's it. That could suffice. That could add up as details in this one. Again, number one, Pitsunlok is a good university. First, I think it is a good university because it is a friendly university. For example, it has less students, so everybody knows each other, right? Okay, another one. Can you give me one more so that we could make it more interactive? RMUTL Pitsunlok is a good university. Aside, number one, we already spoke, being friendly. Another aspect, can you give me one? Anyone in the audience?
RMUTL Pitsunlok is friendly environment.
Friendly has been spoken already. Can you make it another idea?
Environment.
What about the environment? What do you mean? What is the environment? Is it cozy? Is it the environment is clean? What do you mean environment? Dirty?
Environment is clean.
Because
What about the environment?
there are clean environment.
First, clean environment. So let me just repeat now. RMUTL Pitsunlok is a good university because it has clean environment. Okay, now let's give some examples. Okay, give examples of clean environment. Can you give, can someone give me a sentence using the idea clean environment in RMUTL Pitsunlok? Can you give me? Clean environment. When you say clean, you cannot see garbage. You cannot see
I
trash.
can give some idea. Because the RMUTL University is far away from the town, so it have a clean environment from the low, and it have a low pollution.
Okay, so can you give me example that support clean environment?
For example, there is machine than the other university that near the town.
Again, please. Sorry, I did that.
There is because there is population, so they less the pollution than the town.
Okay, so there is less population, there is less number of people, right? So there is less population being done in the university. Or let me just give you a much more simple idea, like it has many trees, right? To give off clean oxygen or clean air. So clean environment, right? So you could say it has a lot of trees surrounding, right? Surrounding or around the university, Right? So actually, that one, the one that you have said, the woman and the man, Mr. Natapong, and the other speaker a while ago, it could be the idea. But now I'm giving you a much more simple one so that everybody can understand more. Like RMUTL, I think RMUTL is a good university because it has clean environment. For example, you can see many trees around the university. These trees give off oxygen for us to breathe, right? You can see around in the engineering department, around the library, right? Around the plant science department or faculty or the buildings, they are surrounded. They are around the trees. So, in conclusion, RMUTL Pitsanulok is a good university because of its clean environment. Like that. So it's very, very simple. I think it's not so difficult to give details or to give evidence or to give proof to the main idea or to the main point. Okay, again, let me just discuss. Your topic is RMUTL is a good university. Number one, why it is a good university? Because it is friendly. So friendly, how being friendly, the detail, because everybody knows each other, because it has less students, not a lot of students. Number 2 point, RMUTL is a good university because it has clean environment. For example, clean environment, it has good air because of the many trees you can find around the university. Right? Okay. So that's giving example to what I'm talking about as evidence. Okay. Understand? Okay. So let's proceed, right? Should I proceed to the next one or somebody will speak? What do you think?
Sorry again, teacher, can you repeat again?
Should I go to the next one or somebody will explain, or what should I be doing now?
You should go to the next slide.
So the next slide. So let's move on to the next slide. Now I'm using transition signal. Let's move on to the next slide. Another example, banana is good for the health. Okay, so your topic is all about banana is good for the health. So you could give main point 1 and give details. For example, it has, for example, number 1, it has or it is rich in potassium. Potassium. Right? For example, if you eat banana, then you could get a lot of potassium that the body needs. Right? Number 2, it is full of vitamins. Right? Number 3, another one good for the health. It could be a remedy for diarrhea. When you're having a stomach problem, if you're pooing a lot, if you're going to the toilet a lot of times and then dumping a lot in the toilet, then you could use banana as one of the home remedies when you eat bananas, right? So you could use details and examples, okay, to support your main points, okay? So that is the concept of the body. Okay, let me just wrap up. Let me just summarize from the beginning to the body. So, like for example, can you move? Can you move back one slide? Just one slide. Okay. So, for example, I have RMUTL is a good university. Pitsanulok is a good university. This is the topic. So, I'm going from the first to the body. Okay, so listen up. Okay. Hello, good morning, everyone. Let's say good afternoon. Okay. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mr. Ruben H. Esteban. I am a student at RMUTL Pitsanulok, and my major is plant science. I am a third-year student. Today, I'm going to talk about RMUTL is a good university. This topic is important for you so that you will know more about RMUTL Pitsanulok. Okay, I am going to speak 3 points. First, I'm going to speak RMUTL is a good university because it's friendly. Second, RMUTL Pitsanulok is a good university because it has clean environment. And third, RMUTL is a good university because it is like a family. Let's move on to the next one. Now, I'm going to talk about why RMUTL is a good university. Number one, RMUTL is a good university because it is very friendly. Okay, so for example, everybody in the university knows each other most frequently or most likely. There is less population, less students, and less number of people, so everybody can greet each other formally or informally sometimes. Now, let's move on to the next. Number two, or secondly, RMUTL is a good university because it has clean environment. For example, the air that we breathe in RMUTL Pitsanulok is clean because we are surrounded by a lot of trees. In engineering building, plant science building, animal science building, fishery building, library building, Bala building, we have a lot of trees surrounding RMUTL Pitsanulok. Therefore, the air that we breathe is very clean. Now, let's move on to the third point. RMUTL, third or last point, RMUTL is a good university because it is like a family. For example, you know your teacher, you know your friend as a family, like a brother or a sister, right? So you can easily go to them and talk to them. They're very much approachable. When you ask your teacher about your homework or about your research or about your project, you could ask your teacher freely. You can go to their office and ask with ease. It's so easy to contact them because it's like a family. It's a small family between sisters and brothers, and sometimes your teachers could function as a mother, as a mentor, as a family member, okay, without neglecting the respect also between teacher and a student. So I think RMUTL Pitsanulok is a good university because it is like a small family. See? So in this one, it's very easy, or I think it's a little easier for you to understand now how to speak in the body of your presentation. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide. The next one. Okay, the conclusion. The conclusion is your final message to your audience. It both summarizes the presentation. When we say summarize in Thai, let me just speak one word in Thai, salup, by repeating the main points and emphasizes what you want the audience to remember from each main point. Again, so the functions of conclusion: summarize, emphasize. Summarize, emphasize. Okay.
ครับส่วนสุดท้ายนะครับก็คือส่วน conclusion หรือส่วนสรุปนั่นเองนะฮะคือส่วน conclusion นะครับก็คือการสรุปข้อมูลที่เรานำเสนอผ่าให้ผู้ฟังนะครับโดยการสรุปนะครับส่วนแรกที่ต้องทำก็คือการนำเสนอหัวข้อที่เราพูดไปนะครับซ้ำว่าเราพูดหัวข้ออะไรไปบ้าง และก็คุณอยากให้ผู้ฟังเนี่ยจะทำอะไรอยากให้ผู้ฟังเนี่ยทำอะไรต่อไปนะฮะเพื่อให้เน้นให้ผู้ฟังเขาจดจำว่าเขาทำเนี่ยไอหัวข้อพวกนี้สำคัญกับผู้ฟังเพราะอะไรนะฮะขอบคุณมากครับ
Let's move on to the next slide. So here inside the green, in the box, the green one. So the conclusion, just pretty similar to the body. So the main points repeated from the overview in the introduction. You could just speak it again like an overview in the introduction, okay? Main point 1, then the focus point. The focus point taken from the body, meaning the thing that we have to remember from that main point. Okay, again, what to remember in that main point. That is the focus point. And let me do it. Conclusion, main point 1. Speak it again. Okay, again from the introduction. Very easy. Just again, you speak it again from the introduction. Then you take one important thing or what you want to emphasize, anything that you want your audience to remember. We call that the focus point, taken from the body of your speech. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Why is the conclusion important? The conclusion part is your last chance to tell your audience what should they remember from your presentation. It also prepares the audience for the Q&A or the question answer part. So it is the last chance for your audience to know what your presentation is about and to remember some things from your presentation. It also prepares the audience for your question and answer part.
ในส่วนของความสำคัญของ conclusion นะครับ conclusion นะครับคือโอกาสสุดท้ายนะครับที่ผู้นำเสนองานนะครับจะบอกว่าให้ผู้ฟังนะครับควรจะจดจำส่วนไหนของการนำเสนอครับหรือในการแบบเตรียมตัวให้ผู้ฟังนะครับมาพร้อมจะถามคำถามต่อผู้นำเสนอฮะขอบคุณมากครับ
Go to the next slide, please. Let's move on to the next one. Now I'm doing transition signals. In the conclusion one, or in the conclusion part, we have, you can see on the left, in the overview, meaning in the introduction you said, right? Can you remember? I'm going to talk about 3 points. In the conclusion, you should say, I talked about. So when you go to the left, bottom left, remember, use the past tense of the verb. You can see the red one, past tense. Again, let me just repeat, past tense. In the introduction, you use the future tense. In the body, you use the present tense. In the conclusion, you use the past tense. Okay, go in the middle. In the conclusion, you should say, I talked about 3 points. Again, I talked about 3 points. Or you go to the middle, the column, second column. I had, can you see? I had 3 points that I described. Or you could go to the bottom row. I covered 4 points. The easiest one is number 1, the uppermost row. I talked about. Very, very simple. I talked about 3 points. Then you do it again like in the introduction. First, I told you. So I told, not I will tell, I told. So past tense. I told you about the tires. Then add numbers and example from the body. This one is the emphasis. What do you want your audience to remember from that point? For example, I will read for you. First, I told you about the tires. Please remember the tires last twice as long. Second, I told you about how powerful the engine is. Don't forget, it has 2000 cc. And third, I told you about the speed of this combination. I hope you remember that with these tires and this engine, you can reach a speed of 200 kilometers per hour. So again, in the conclusion, you do the overview again, but in the past tense. And then you give 1 point, one idea that your audience should remember from each of the points. Mm-hmm.
โอเค ส่วนของ conclusion นะครับคำของ conclusion นะครับจะใช้ past tense นะฮะซึ่งแตกต่างจาก2พาร์ทที่เหลือนะครับก็คือพาร์ทแรกก็จะใช้ future tense ที่จะบอกว่าสิ่งที่เรากำลังจะทำ body คือ present tense คือสิ่งที่บอกว่าเรากำลังทำและ past tense คือสิ่งที่เราบอกว่าเราได้ทำไปแล้วนะครับในคำของ conclusion นะครับอย่างแรกที่คุณควรพูดก็คือบอกหัวข้อว่าเราพูดอะไรไปบ้างครับอย่างเช่นเรามีหัวข้อ3หัวข้อเราก็บอกว่า I talk about 3 point ก็คือเรามี3หัวข้อที่เราได้พูดไปแล้วนะฮะและต่อไปนะครับก็คือเราต้องโฟกัสให้บอกให้ออเดียนนะครับหรือผู้ฟังนะครับว่าโฟกัสข้อมูลอะไรที่เราเน้นเป็นพิเศษนะฮะอย่างเช่นในอย่างตัวอย่างนะฮะก็คือ please don't forget it has 2000 cc ก็คืออย่าลืมว่ามันมี2,000 cc ซึ่งน่าจะเกี่ยวกับเครื่องยนต์ครับและเป็นข้อมูลสำคัญขอบคุณมากครับ
Okay, like for example, we have the topic RMUTL is a good university. Can you still remember? Okay, so I will do the conclusion. For example, I talked about 3 points. First, I told you about RMUTL being friendly. Don't forget, everybody may know each other. Second, I told you about clean environment. Please remember, we have a lot of trees in RMUTL Pitsanulog that give off good oxygen. And lastly, I told you about being a small family. Don't forget, you can go to your teacher and ask for advice or ask some information about some things about studying. See, it's very, very easy. From the conclusion, you can get from the overview. Just change the past tense, the tense of the verb. And then you take out the most, what Mr. Natapan has said, the most special thing about your main point. So you could say anything that you would think special for that main point for the audience to remember. Okay? Okay, so now let's go to the next slide. Ending part of conclusion. So after you say that one, the 3 points, and then the special thing, then you could end by giving any of these 4. So any, meaning you could use number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Give a call to action, give a thought to think about, recommend something from your presentation, or give a future prediction. Okay, like for example, RMUTL is a good university, right? So I use number 3, right? Use number 3, recommend something from your presentation. So you could say, I suggest you come and visit RMUTL Pitsanulog. I recommend you to come and see RMUTL Pitsanulog. Okay? Or you could say, give a future prediction, like, I think RMUTL will be a green university and a better and green university in the future because of its very, very clean environment. Okay, so you could say future prediction, use the word will. Give a thought to think about. Like, for example, have you thought about coming to our university? Have you thought of enrolling with us? Okay, do you want to experience what I'm talking about? Like this, okay? Give a thought to think about. Give a call to action, meaning you want them to do some action. You could say, come, okay, come and join us at RMUTL Pitsanulok, so you could see the clean environment, the friendliness of the people, and the small family life that is RMUTL Pitsanulok. Okay, so any of this, you could just one sentence or two sentences could do. But I think, for me, my most favorite one is number 3, recommend something from your presentation. In Pasatay, nenam. Okay, so like, for example, recommend. I'd like to recommend Pitsanulok, RMUTL Pitsanulok, because it's a good, very good university where you can study of any major. Like this. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, and then thank the audience and invite for questions. So, can you go back to the previous slide? Go back to one slide. Okay, so let me do the conclusion. I talked about 3 points. First, I told you about RMUTL is a good university because of its clean environment. The first one was because of its friendliness, okay, because it is very friendly. You know each other. Please remember, you might know each other every day as you meet each other, okay? Second, I told you about its clean environment, okay? Don't forget, it has a lot of trees. Third, I told you about the small family life as its nature, okay? You could ask for advice, you could ask somebody in the university and be family like a family. And then the last one you recommend this one. I think RMUTL is a good university, so why don't you come and visit us and enroll at RMUTL Pitsanulok? Then thank the audience. Thank you very much for your attention, or thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Please, okay. Go to the next slide, please. Next one. Thank you. So here I showed you this one. You could use, I showed you 3 points. I told you 3 points. Then this one, the last sentence, I think that you could use, I believe that we should. For example, I recommend. I recommend RMUTL Pitsanulok for incoming freshmen to come and join us. Join us and study here at RMUTL Pitsanulok because it's clean, it's friendly, and it's like a family. See? So then thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening. Then invite to ask questions. Do you have any questions? Now I will answer your questions. If you have questions, you can ask me now. So it's so easy, pretty simple.
เอาแล้วนะฮะในสไลด์นี้นะครับก็คือประโยคทั้งหมดที่เกี่ยวกับ conclusion นะครับคือเมื่อพูดประโยคทั้งหมดที่เกี่ยวกับ conclusion แล้วนะครับในส่วนของ conclusion เนี่ยครับอย่างที่บอกไปข้างต้นคือเราสามารถ มันเป็นโอกาสที่เราให้ audience สามารถถามเราได้นะครับ ก็คือประโยคสุดท้ายนะครับ invite to ask question ประโยค3ประโยคล่างนี้ครับก็คือประโยคที่บอกว่าสามารถให้ audience ถามคำถามได้แล้วนะฮะซึ่งในบาง presentation นะครับคำถามเนี่ยสามารถถามตอนเวลาไหนก็ได้แต่ในบาง presentation นะครับคำถามนั้นจะสามารถถามได้ในเวลาที่ presenter นะครับอนุญาตแล้วเท่านั้นขอบคุณมากครับ
Okay. So that concludes the 3 parts of the presentation. Okay, number 1 is the introduction. Don't forget, in the introduction you have the greeting. Hi, hello, good morning. And then introduce yourself, your topic, why it is important to tell the topic, and the overview. And in the body, don't forget, number 2, body. In the body, you have to discuss, explain how by giving examples, evidence, and proofs. And in conclusion, very easy. Conclusion, you just have to repeat what you have just said in the introduction, but you use the past tense form of the verb in the sentences, okay? And you could recommend, you could do a call to action, you could give a thought to think about, or you could predict something in the future. And then you thank the listener, say thank you, and then you invite some questions if the audience has. Okay? And now let's go to the slide. Next slide. Okay, so this one, I'm giving you a sample presentation. This is a sample presentation of Bob. He is working as a tour guide in a safari, okay? So you can see the blue box, introduction. You can remember reading what, why, the overview. Then don't forget, sorry, I forgot to tell you to transition signals. Okay. The body, main point 2, transition, and proofs. Conclusion, main point, the focus point. That's simple. That's the presentation. Let's go to the next one. So a little bit small, but I'm going to read it for you, okay? So, good morning. My name is Safari Bob, your tour guide. Today, I have an important message for you. Important because we're going to look at some endangered animals of Asia. These animals may soon disappear without your help. Now, as of today's tour, first, we will take a look at the endangered animals of Japan. Second, we will look at the endangered animals of China. And finally, the endangered animals of Indonesia and Malaysia. Body, go to the body. Here are the endangered animals of Japan. First, the red-crowned crane, sometimes called the Japanese crane. And give some details. And then we have seen the endangered animals of Japan. Next, you see next. Next, please follow me to the endangered animals of China. Here you see the endangered animals of China. Let's begin by taking a look at the giant panda. Okay, you also have the slide on the left. Okay, so the giant panda. Then you give details to the giant panda. Okay. Up to now, we have looked at the endangered animals of both Japan and China. Now, let's move on. See, let's move on to the endangered animals of Indonesia and Malaysia. Here are the endangered animals of Indonesia and Malaysia. Let's begin by looking at the largest and most famous, the orangutan. Okay. So orangutan, you explain about orangutan, give proofs and examples. This is the conclusion. In conclusion, today we saw the 3 groups of animals. First, endangered animals of Japan. Second, endangered animals of China. And third, endangered animals of Indonesia and Malaysia. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions? Very simple, isn't it? Okay. Understand. Now, I have one more slide to show you. Can you show them, Mr. Natapan, about the simple one, the Chihuahua thing? I will give you an example of a very simple academic presentation before I end this one.
ระหว่างการรอนำเสนอของมิสเตอร์ณัฐพลนะคะ มีใครในห้องนี้อยากสอบถามคำถามอะไรไหมคะคำถามที่เกี่ยวกับการนำเสนองานเป็นภาษาอังกฤษ พวกเราคิดว่ายากเกินไปไหม มีอาจารย์รูเบนได้อธิบายขั้นตอนต่างๆนะคะตั้งแต่ introduction นะคะมี body แล้วก็มี conclusion ไว้ทั้งหมดแล้วเราสามารถกลับมาดูในrecord ได้นะคะเพื่อเอาไปใช้ประโยชน์ในอนาคตเนาะตรงนี้มีใครมีคำถามไหมคะเห็นมีใครนะจิตทิพย์มีธัญพรยังอยู่กันไหมคะ ได้ความรู้อะไรบ้างสำหรับวันนี้คะ
And Ajahn Kong is on mass.
I call my student อยู่กันหรือเปล่าสงสัยออนไลน์เอาไว้เจอไหมคะ Maybe he cannot find the file โอเคแชร์มา
Because this one is very simple. It's being used if you are an animal science student. You could use this presentation. Okay, can you do a presentation type 1? You click this one, click the thing in the middle, the yellow. Yeah. Yes, that one. Just a moment, please. It would only take around 2 to 3 minutes to present this one. Okay. So, okay. Now I'm going to present, okay? Not yet start, okay? You listen to me and listen to the points from introduction, the body, and the conclusion, which I have discussed earlier, okay? Let's start. This is now the presentation. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ruben H. Esteban. I am a student at RMUTL Pitsunolog, and I am majoring in animal science. I am a third-year student. Today, I'd like to present about the appearance of Chihuahua. This is very important for you to understand more the different physical structures of the dog Chihuahua. In my presentation, can you go to the next slide? In my presentation, I would like to speak about 4 things. First, I will speak about height and weight. Second, I'll speak about coat and shedding. Third, I'll speak about the colors of Chihuahua. And fourth, I'll speak about the shape of the heads of Chihuahua. Let's move on to the body of the presentation. First, I'm going to tell you about the height and weight of Chihuahua. The weight for male and female, they are pretty similar. As you can see on the right, 1.8 to 2.7 kilograms or 4 to 6 pounds. For the height, they are pretty similar also. The male and the female Chihuahuas have 15 to 25 centimeter height. See? Now let's move on to the next point. The coat and shedding. The coat and shedding is what we call the fur or the hair of the dog. The shedding is how the dog's repair or how the coat, the fur are being changed. Okay, there are 4 types of coat of a Chihuahua. The first one, number 1, the short coat and the single shedding. Short coat, especially for this kind of Chihuahua, they have a very short fur. Maybe you have seen one in your home or in your neighborhood. The second one with the single shedding. Okay, number 2, let's see number 2. Short coat and the double shedding. So twice the shedding. Okay, with the short coat. You can see very short the hair or the fur of this dog Chihuahua. Very short, okay? And the next one. Can you move to the next slide, please? The long coat, okay? The long coat with a single shedding, okay? So the long coat with a single shedding in one in this photo, you can see a longer coat, okay? And the next one, the last one is the long coat with the double shedding. You can see the long coat or the fur of the dog is really long and it takes double shedding for them, okay? Now let's move on to the next point. The color of Chihuahua. There are 6 colors of Chihuahua. Number 1, the black, as you can see on the photo. Next one, the white. Next one, the fawn, the cream, chocolate, and gold. Now let's move on to the last point, which is the shape of the head of Chihuahua. There are 2 shapes of a Chihuahua's head. Number 1 is the deer shape. You can see the shape of the head is like a deer, of a deer. And the last one is the apple shape. You can see it's like an apple. It's more round, not like a triangle. Okay, it's more round, it's rounder than the deer shape. Okay, and okay, so I told you about 4 points in the appearance of Chihuahua. First, I told you about the height and weight of the Chihuahua. Please remember, they are of different height and different weight. The same height and the same weight, the male and the female, or the boy Chihuahua and the girl Chihuahua, the same. Don't forget. I told you about the coat and shedding. It depends on how long and how short and how much the shedding could go, right? Some sheddings could go 1 shedding and 2 shedding for a season. Okay. Third, I told you about the 6 different colors of a Chihuahua. You could choose any of those. Like if you want the black one, the white one, then you could buy or you could have some colors if you want as a pet Chihuahua. And lastly, I told you about the shape of the head of the Chihuahua. There are just 2. Don't forget the deer and the apple. You know the difference between deer and apple. So I believe that, or recommendation, sorry. I recommend that you have to have a Chihuahua as your pet. And if you think more of purchasing or getting some Chihuahua as your pet, then you could get one. They're very good as a pet. Thank you very much for listening. Do you have any question? That's it. Very simple.
เพื่อนๆมีคำถามไหมครับในเรื่องของชิวาว่า ไม่มีคำถามนะฮะ Teacher, there have no question in the presentation.
So that is the end of the presentation. Like you could basically, and I think it's very easy. If you look at the pattern, this is recorded, right, Ajahn Tom, right? So whenever you want to go back to what we have discussed, it's also explained in Thai, and you could also have the slide. You could ask for Mr. Natapon to give you the presentation slide also later, so that you could use them in your presentation, academic presentation at school, in the classroom, or if you have any research, it's just pretty similar research project, okay? Thank you very much for listening.
ก็หวังว่าในกิจกรรมตรงนี้นะคะอาจารย์รูเบนได้ให้ข้อมูลกับเราได้ให้ความรู้กับเราในเรื่องของการนำเสนอเชิงวิชาการนะคะหวังว่าในวันนี้ผู้ที่เข้าอบรมน่าจะได้รับข้อมูลอะไรไม่บ้างนะคะไม่มากก็น้อยแล้วก็เราสามารถนำเอาไปแอพพลายกับในชีวิตประจำวันหรือในชั้นเรียนต่อไปได้นะคะโอเคค่ะก็ขอบคุณมิสเตอร์รูเบนมากๆนะคะวันนี้เดี๋ยวสู่พิธี closing ceremony แล้ว
Okay. Now we come to the end of webinar in the topic of English for professional presentation. On behalf of third year in English for International Communication students, I would like to say thank you, Mr. Ruben Esteban, to give us the knowledge of English for professional presentation, and thank you on the participant today. I hope you can gain knowledge from this webinar today, and don't forget to do the statistician evaluation from satisfaction evaluation form questionnaire I post, okay, that we post in this channel. Thank you very much. ก็participant นะครับหรือผู้เข้าร่วมที่ร่วมเวบินาร์ในวันนี้ก็ฝากทำquestionnaire ด้วยนะครับทางเราได้โพสต์เอาไว้แล้วครับใน channel นี้ขอบคุณครับ
แล้วก็ขอแจ้งนักศึกษาที่เข้าร่วมกิจกรรมในวันนี้นะคะให้นำหลักฐานมาที่ Language Center นะคะที่ศูนย์ภาษาเพื่อมารับสแตมป์2 ดวงจากในกิจกรรมวันนี้ด้วยนะคะให้สามารถรับสแตมป์ได้ที่พี่เนนะคะโอเคค่ะ
อาจารย์คะ
อะไรคะ
ว่าจะพูดยังไงเอาได้แค่วันนี้เหรอคะไปวันอื่นได้ไหมคะ
วันอื่นก็ได้ค่ะเดี๋ยวหนูเอาหลักฐานหนูแคปหน้าจอไว้ที่หนูเข้าฟังในวันนี้นะคะมีชื่อหนูใช่ไหมแล้วก็หนูสามารถเอาการเข้าฟังในวันนี้ค่ะมาที่ศูนย์ภาษาวันไหนก็ได้นะคะไม่จำเป็นต้องวันนี้นะดาวน์โหลดไว้ครูดาวน์โหลดรายชื่อไว้แล้วนะคะเดี๋ยวทางศูนย์ภาษาจะสามารถเช็ครายชื่อได้จากที่ไฟล์ดาวน์โหลดนะคะมีคำถามอีกไหมคะ
ก่อนหน้านั้นนะฮะคือเดี๋ยวผมจะส่งไฟล์ที่เราเรียนกันไปในวันนี้ไว้ข้างๆ channel นะฮะคือถ้าใครต้องการนะก็สามารถโหลดไปใช้ได้นะฮะ
มีคนแชทมาถ้าไม่มีคำถามแล้วนะคะแล้วก็ปิดclosing ceremony แล้วนะคะในนามของรายวิชา English Seminar นะคะ ต้องขอ thank you very much Mr. Ruben Esteban เป็นอย่างสูงนะคะ ที่เป็น the best guest speaker today นะคะ thank you very much นะคะ โอเคค่ะ ขอบคุณมากค่ะ บ๊ายบาย กด stop